Hey guys, it's Dorr. I got Dave and Coach with me. In today's video, we're going to be talking about downtime. Not just any old downtime, but on deployment downtime, combat deployment downtime.
Real downtime.
Real downtime. You know, sometimes things are hot and heavy. There's not a lot of downtime, but you know, if you do the job long enough, you're going to find those lulls.
Lulls.
You know, and then some deployments can just be a lull.
Yeah.
But hopefully not. But anyway, we're going to get into it, so stay tuned. Hey, before we get into it, we'd like to thank today's sponsor, CCW Safe. If you carry a weapon and intend to use it for self-defense, God forbid you do, there's going to be a second fight. There's going to be a post-incident process, and CCW Safe has that down to a science. They will handpick your legal team and send out an independent investigator on your behalf if necessary. So check them out in the description below. Might be the best decision you ever made. All right, guys. So today's video, it's all about downtime on deployment. There's always going to be downtime. Hurry up and wait. I mean, you pretty much, if there's one skill you learn in boot camp, it's how to wait around. And but it goes on from there. But on deployment, you're kind of trapped on a fob, a base. You don't really have freedom of movement, depending on the type of deployment you're having. But we're going to focus in on the hot, dusty ones. And it's just kind of a unique time and place to kill time. Mm. You don't have access to a lot of things you take for granted, back here in the real world, but you do have access to things that you normally wouldn't.
Good point. Things that go boom.
Things that go boom. In particular, and I was wondering, if you had any specific stories you'd like to share.
Well, lesson learned, really, more than a story. You know how you hit a bunch of targets, you prosecute a bunch of stuff, and then at some point you have to do a BIP, or blow all the shit you brought back off a target. You've got random everything. You got RPGs, you've got everything, right? Mm-hmm. Lesson learned: it's always good to let the larger post commandant command group know that you're going to do this. We did a BIP. We blew a bunch of shit up one day, right? We finally had to get rid of it. We had time off, and we're like, hey, let's go do some demo with the boys. And we made this giant booger bomb, right? Gadoosh! And they thought our wall just got hit by a V-bid. So that put the entire post is like, wah! Dudes come running. We're like, oh, what's going on?
Oh.
Yeah, not good. Not a good day for Dave.
Yeah. Follow that one up with a phone call next time.
Yep.
Yeah. Proceed it.
Apparently you can't do just whatever the hell you want to do, apparently.
Yeah.
That's you guys. We can pretty much do it now.
I never even thought about that early on, so I'm assuming the ladder of leadership, some one of those rungs took care of it. But unauthorized, unexpected booms over there, definitely going to rattle some cages.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much anywhere. You set a bomb off and you don't let the boss know.
Yeah.
It's they can some issues.
Yeah. Now, normally on deployment, obviously, it's universal. You can only work out so many hours a day. You can only play video games so many hours a day. So eventually, you start wandering off to find other things to do. And one thing that we found early on was, again, just unlimited access to Ordinance. Mm-hmm. And all of the, schoolhouse, I don't know if you call them rules or regulations or
guidelines,
laws.
Yeah.
In America,
suggestions.
When you want to blow things up and work with dangerous stuff, there's a lot of protocols, a lot of paperwork, a lot of allowances. But over there, anybody could just open up one of those RSLs, one of those ready lockers where all the hazardous materials are kept, and just go to town. And so we'd load that stuff up. We'd transit to the far reaches of known space, green space. We'd head out to those, way, way out. You're basically in red space, but you're in the middle of nowhere. No one's going to come around. It's the middle of the day. We bring all the weapons, the trucks, the rockets, everything. And we would just start. I remember the first time we did it, we went out to these old buildings that were near power lines, and our only guidance was don't shoot down the power lines.
Yeah.
We're like, okay.
All right.
So I lock and load the Mark 19.
Oh boy.
And we're going to start hammering this building. and I misjudged it. In the first round, I went right over the top of the building, right towards the base of the power line.
Of course. Where else is it going to go?
Yeah, I was like, oh, man, I really should have gotten more time on this thing. Because you don't really use the Mark 19 much in training. You just get like a little bit of, training. We're driving around and, having fun. So, yeah, I did not damage. And these are the big ones, like the big industrial, like 100-footers that are transiting, the power from like the Haditha Dam, into like cities. And so, yeah, I missed that, kind of reset the truck. And then we just started pounding on buildings with rockets, 40 Mike, just to see what they could take. What is Iraqi construction going to do against, these larger,
What's that 200-year-old adobe wall that has 12 coats of spackle?
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. And then also we would just concoct different types of charges out of whatever we had and just start applying it to structures. How much ECT does it take to cut through like a full-size I-beam?
The A formula.
Yeah. I did not know
Overall.
until we tried. So yeah, it kind of went from like spec demo, and spec demo is the least amount of explosive power you need to accomplish the job. That is the finesse. That is where the expertise comes in. This was not that.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. This was the best 4th of July.
This was exploratory.
It wasn't July, and we were about as far from America as you could get. But I'm telling you,
when in doubt, overload.
yeah, it was amazing. Like wrapping flashbangs in debt cord.
What does that do?
What does that do?
Exactly. Somebody asked that question.
What does that do?
Yeah.
There's another one where we got onto
I really want to know, what does that do?
it makes a large flash.
Does it do anything extra?
Well, it just depends on how much debt cord.
That's a good point.
Because every inch is a little bit extra.
7/9.
Yeah. Yeah, when we wrapped Bangalore's in debt cord, but had you wrapped flashbangs in debt cord? Yeah. Just stuff like that. And then at one point, a little bit later, I'm more, of a supervisor type, but we had new guys that had never used thermobaric hand grenades. Because they're hard to use in training because they're so destructive. And throwing one in a grenade pit doesn't show you anything.
Right.
You need a structure to...
Yeah, so we grabbed a case of those and we just marauded around this old abandoned area and just started throwing these things into structures so you could see exactly what we did. And they did quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. That was a fun day.
Yeah, we discovered, because we did a little bit of goofing off like that as well, but you chuck a thermobaric into a small house, whatever, stay away from the flat sides. You want to run away from it. Once you throw it in the window, if you find a corner, run away in the corner, because it tends to...
Yeah.
The least amount of debris is going to follow you. The frag kind of goes towards the big flat walls that take the big brunt of the explosive. Just, in case, you guys ever find yourself in that situation, 45 degrees out the corner.
Try not to be under the same covering as whatever is exploding.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good rule.
Yeah,
that's a general good rule.
I would have thought
that is a general
self-explanatory, but
that's an important one. That's an important one. Even if it's just like an awning exterior of the actual structure, don't be under that either. Everything just has a tendency to come down.
Yeah, awnings are usually made out of, over there, they're made out of
anything.
Wood and mud and brick and whatever.
Yeah, I've seen everything from I-beams to damn sticks.
Hey, Dave, you got a little particular?
Training overseas, downtime stuff. We did a lot of. We always had because we have young Rangers and young Huas, right? So there's a lot of training that was going on, and you always got team leader drills, or not team. You got gun crew drills. You got all these different drills that have to be done. But the boys started getting pretty fun with it, and some of the funnest moments we had, the guys got crazy with PowerPoint. This is back when PowerPoint was a thing. All briefs were right, and they made a Ranger Jeopardy out of a PowerPoint thing. It was badass. It was actually really I was pretty impressed when they first broke it out. I'm like, oh, this is an instant fail. What the hell are you guys doing? We're sitting down for PowerPoint now, and it was Ranger Jeopardy. Ranger history for 200, Alex.
That's awesome.
That was really good.
Oh, do you have that?
Yeah, I do.
Dude, let's play it.
Yeah,
let's play it.
We have to.
Okay,
we can market that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it. Yeah, we'll pull it up, make it a video.
man.
See, you guys were doing all that, that's kind of positive stuff. The stuff we were doing was kind of, well, depending on where you were and what you were doing, we had guys, really perfecting the art of painting their gun in various patterns and stuff, trying to match the patterns and all.
You get into it. Get into it.
And then the other guys, some other guys figured they'd make a still out of. I guess you're using bread and fruit juice or what? I don't know. It wasn't me.
What had happened was,
We're planning.
he was with you guys, and one of your guys, a phenomenal human being. When we weren't rolling, the dude stood up his own ink stand, and he was slinging ink. Brought his guns, and there was a waiting list to get inked up.
And he's getting better and better. And the deployment went on.
Yeah.
That's actually, that's happened a few times.
Yes. The ultimate jailhouse tattoo.
Yeah, that's sailor culture. Yeah, the tattooing guys.
Yeah.
There's definitely one of those usually on a deployment.
Oh, Vietnam frog man, Mike Martin on my first deployment. He set up in his room, in the Philippines, and guys were lined up outside getting inked up. He got so good he opened his own damn shop down in IB.
FSG, Flesh Skin Graphic.
Flesh Skin Graphic.
Mike Martin, baby.
Mike Martin's not there anymore.
No.
Rest his soul.
The hell of a guy.
His shop's still there. But
Talking about things that aren't supposed to, instead of productive like you think, that's not us all the time. We hit a target, and this target had probably 150 RC cars. Obviously, he really good dude. That's why we come to have a talk with him, right? Well, we bring all these RC cars back. Now you got a bunch of bored-ass Rangers with RC cars. And someone decides to make, hey, be a great idea. We're going to make paper mache arts and crafts day. They made these giant phallic symbols, a.k.a. Cochs. And they took
What else are you going to make?
they took the top of the cars off, and they'd fashion this big giant Cochs on top of it, and then they would roll through the jock. They get rolled through the GFC and everybody there was like, they get so pissed off with these just, you come outside to go to the chow, and there's supposed to be a big giant cock going down the road. That became an issue for us too, apparently. That's our problem, is we don't do anything in moderation. We start, it goes great, and then we always take it to the next level, and then we're like, well, shit.
and then
Now we're in trouble.
Anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
that's the again another old adage, right?
Yeah.
Moderation is for cowards. Right?
Yeah, now we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Now we're.
I mean, what else were guys doing? We had all the, non-standard vehicles, so you could go on. I remember one time we got on the quads, like 4 or 5 of us, and just you have your little bit of gear, looked like you were going on up. We looked official, but there was nothing official about it. We were just marauding around, like going up, taking quads into buildings, like upstairs, onto balconies, downstairs.
You're testing the equipment.
Yeah, seeing the
Testing
limitations,
equipment, jumping,
capabilities and
You
limitations.
ever had to clear a house with
the quad.
yeah,
Hey, you don't know.
taking them off.
What happened?
Sick jumps. We found out what this one cool, and these weren't the like badass, like racing quads. These were like the hunting camouflage quads that are not designed to leave the ground. I know that now. We tested it out, and you do not want to get these things off the ground. The suspension does not work. So we did break one of them, but they had enough spare parts and the mechanics there to fix them. God bless them.
Mechanics got training as well.
Yes,
Right?
sustained.
Sustainment.
Their capability was sustained by I know it was an E5 at the time. And but yeah, we would take those things out. We would take the bikes out. We would take the quads out. Those were kind of more or less replaced by the side-by-sides. And when they removed into Al Asad, like when the whole leaving Iraq thing didn't work out and the ISIL, whatever we're calling it, happened, big chunks of Al Asad were just completely vacant. So you had like little American bubbles, but it was not Camp Pendleton, the sequel, like it had been during the war.
So you're basically going through red zone to get to
and we shared, in the SMGs or whatever, the Shia militia groups, they had free reign to move around as well. So it was a little bit weird, but
Good word for it.
yeah, we would go out there and they had jackal problems. Because there's so much garbage and so much human that the jackals, which are just basically coyotes, they just don't call them coyotes in the Middle East, they call them jackals. So we were having issues with those coming into the camp. We had issues with those threatening our canines because they would smell them out. And they would come right up to the guy's hooch that the dog was
You
in.
carry
Yeah.
diseases, so you don't want them messing with your
So we started driving around in the side-by-sides on nods with our gats,
lamping.
just hunting jackals. 'Cause they would live out on the runway. So you get out onto the runway and just get going as fast as you could with the side-by-side, because it's the acceleration that's noisy. So you want to get it up into, fifth gear or whatever as fast as you can. And you would just patrol up and down the runways and then you have guys standing up in the back like a chariot. And you've got your armored helmet on, maybe, if not your bump helmet with your nods, and I would drive, and I'm just driving. I'm like, they know what they're doing. They're not going to shoot me. I'm just going to keep it straight. Just keep it straight on the runway. And they're up there in the freaking chariot, just taking shots at anything that moves out on the sides of the runway. And that was a fun night. Didn't take too long before we stopped seeing those. And then eventually you'd see jackal like pelts and heads like stapled onto the plywood walls of like the bars or whatever you wanted to call them.
The Lost Boys.
Yeah. Dude, that was fun. But you can't have fun like that in the States, or
no.
If you're in Guam or Germany or somewhere that's,
Yeah. Well, you have conventional fun.
Yeah.
In places like that.
Yeah, which, just means going to bars.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
And trying the food.
Well, you talked about wrapping flashbangs with deck cord.
Yeah.
We finished training. I think we're in Kentucky anyway. We finished training demo thing, right? And got a big hole. It rained the night before. So this hole, this 6-foot hole now is full of water. And we're going to leave and we're like, wonder what an entire spool of deck cord will do that. So we do it up on, and we parked the bus like a good 300 meters away. And I got the fastest 2 dudes. I'm like, all right, because the no-nail was like a 9-second no-nail or whatever it was, right? Like, all right, everybody else on the bus, burn it there. And they made it barely. Holy shit! With all that deck cord tamped with the water. Oh, it rained for a good 30 seconds. But most importantly was the sonic blast. Cracked all the windows in the bus. The bus went, and the whole side was like, they all just shattered the whole left side of the bus. Wow. Yep.
Minimal safe distance.
There you go. Yeah.
Based on net explosive weight. It's all coming back to me. It's all coming back to me. Yeah, you're definitely going to break some stuff.
Yeah, well, we were over there. We had all this demo laying around, and somebody found some plate metal, and we started cutting designs. I don't know who figured that one out, but data sheets. It's nice, thin, like kind of like paper or clay, whatever, but it's real thin. You guys know what it is.
Yeah.
And we figured, lay it down on some metal, and then you just cut out whatever design you want on there and clack that sucker off. It pushes down on all the metal and leaves wherever you cut out stays up. So it's kind of like explosive embossing.
Yeah.
So like somebody saw like, hey, that's cool. So we started looking around for, better, what medium do you want to hit? And then there was like, okay, brass and copper, if you could find it, was good. Steel, you can use mild steel. You just gotta load it like
yeah.
It's not thin like this. It's you get about half an inch of demo and cut through it. But we got pretty good when we got back to the States. We were making stuff like this one goes in the bar, but it's just if you can get a good shot of that. But you just cut out your design, clack it off, and then you got a little piece of something you could back and hand out to people.
Yeah, we were doing that. Our problem was we couldn't source in the right material.
Yeah. See, well, that didn't come from overseas.
Right, exactly.
The stuff we're using over there is like, hey, what do you can find?
Yeah.
But we got pretty good at it, and